It's TheFrXion here, Tiger Tank 1.2, however you want to call me, I don't really care. And today we're back in World of Tanks 1.0, and I've just 20 minutes ago made this commentary happen, but unfortunately my microphone was on mute, so none of the things that I said were captured and were delivered. So we're gonna do the whole thing again, but don't worry, it's nothing too bad. Today we're gonna be talking about the MTLS-1G14, the newest Tier 3 American premium tank that Wargaming will actually give to you by just playing the game. And this is like pretty much their way of saying thank you for sticking to the game after 1.0 has been announced and released. Play the game, you get this tank. It is one of the, or used to be one of the rarest premium tanks in the game. Only certain chosen testers and members were given this vehicle, and it certainly is a very special tank. It's the only tank with a two-gun system that pretty much are aligned right next to each other, and they fire almost at the same time. So basically, you already know what this tank is about, like in its rare form. So I'd say we're gonna compare it to some other tanks that were gifted and at the same tier, like this one is, and then we're gonna jump into some of the games that I had, and I'll give you guys a verdict of what this tank is all about. I'm not gonna say that this what if this tank is worth it or not, because generally speaking, it's a free tank. By playing the game, you're gonna unlock this tank probably like now or later down the line. So I'm not gonna even consider saying if it is worth it, because I mean, generally speaking, it's already worth it because it's free, first and foremost. Secondly, it's a premium tank, it makes your premium credits and you can train your crew, and thirdly, it's a novelty of a tank. I know I've used novelty a very large amount of times in the recent few weeks, but still, I think it's a novelty tank, and I'm glad that I've gotten it. I've gotten into Tier 3 because of this tank again. I haven't played Tier 3s in years, and yeah, it's a very fun tank. So without further ado, let's jump right into the comparison. We're not really going to be focusing that much on the statistics because it's a Tier 3 tank, but we're going to be taking in the general perception that I have of the World of Tanks gift tanks that Wargaming have given to us. So obviously down the line they have given us some tier 2 vehicles, some other tier 3s, for example the BT7 artillery or the T29, and they are all in their own right different kind of vehicles, right? The BT7 artillery, back in the days, I made a montage of this tank with Tchaikovsky's 1812, I'm not even sure what it's called, but the one tune with all the guns. So yeah, very cool tank. A tank that is like, it's like the BT7 just with a derp gun at tier 3. So a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of people did enjoy playing this, and I did as well. And obviously it was one of those reward tanks that was meant to be fun. So the MTLS-1G14, on the other hand, is also a lot of fun. I've played a few matches in it, but at the same time, statistically speaking, it's also very competitive for this tier. Now, it's a 37mm gun, actually two dual 37mm guns, and they have an average pen of 68mm. If we compare it to the T29 or the BT7, both of them running actually, the BT7 is running a 37mm gun, and the T29 is running the 76mm short gun. It's very, very decent. 68mm of penetration with standard AP rounds is very, very good, in my opinion. Now, you up those numbers with APCR rounds, and you're gonna get like 98mm of penetration, and that is going to be more than enough to go through tier 5 tanks. So when you're going to be facing tier 5s, well, you're going to have some APCR rounds to help you out, and this tank is not going to be completely useless. So rate of fire, on the other hand, also very competitive, especially if you compare it to the T29 and the BT7 artillery. And the turret traverse speed, not very bad either, 45.89 degrees per second. Same goes for the gun depression and gun elevation. This tank is a very good Ridge Warrior, 11.8 degrees of gun depression and 22.32 degrees of gun elevation. So this tank is going to be able to crest those ridge lines like any other, like better than a lot of those tier 9 and tier 10 tanks can, and that's really impressive. Now, how does the gun work? You have kind of, it's not one gun, it's two, there are two guns in this vehicle. It's like one gun system. Let's call it one gun system. One of the guns fires first, and the second one follows 0.5 seconds later. So you cannot shoot one gun and then decide when to shoot the second gun. If you shoot the one gun, like if you hit the left mouse button, you'll fire both guns. It's just going to be like a 0.5 second wait time until the second gun will fire. This makes it very difficult to get shots into vehicles that are moving past you. Same goes for distance. This tank is not meant to be a sniper, a long-range sniper at least. 400 meters and the shells drop off, they have no impact on the target. So keep that in mind. Very difficult to hit targets, at least if they're running away, like at least fire when you're firing both guns, it's going to be difficult to get a second shot in, almost impossible to some certain extent. And then the accuracy is going to drop off, especially after 300 meters, and it's very difficult to, it's impossible to hit targets at 400 meters. Let's put it that way. But at the same time, aim time is very good, 1.44 seconds until you have a fully aimed in reticle. Dispersion, 0.4, isn't too bad. If you compare it to the BT7, 0.37. Accuracy at 100 meters, but at the same time, it's just a single gun, so you have the additional support of two guns. And that's pretty damn cool. Now, survivability, obviously, we don't really have to talk that much about it since it's a tier 3 tank. 38mm is actually not too bad at the front. Same goes for the turret, but it's not going to withstand a lot of shots from other tanks, so not that crazily armored, but that's not the case of this tank. It's not the main focus, the main goal of this tank. The main goal is to be able to be mobile, to use the two guns, you know, in the vehicle, and that makes it a very, very competitive tank, actually. If we take a look at the mobility, it's not as fast as the BT7, obviously, but top speed 55 kilometers going forwards, engine power 500, that's pretty damn good. Its acceleration is not on the same term as the BT7R3 or BT7, but I'd say this tank goes around very, very nicely. It's lacking a bit of the traverse speed that the other tanks have, but I'd say for a vehicle of this tier with these statistics, especially with 68mm of gun, not depression, of penetration, it is fairly competitive. I'd like to say that. So how can we, like, what does it feel like to be playing this tank? I'd say we jump into one or two games and we'll figure it out, and then I'll give you guys a verdict of what I think about this tank. So, following the very soothing background music, we're going to be playing, or we're gonna watch a video of me where I played the MTLS-1G14 on the new steps map. Actually, it's the old map, just reworked, and I'm just gonna deactivate the HUD for a second there, just to show you guys how beautiful this map really looks like right now. And yeah, this map certainly has been flattened as well on some spots, but at the same time they have constructed some more cover for both sides, which I think were really necessary. Yeah, definitely. Back to the MTLS-1G14. I'm just gonna call it MTLS from now on. You could see there the first hit on the BT7. That's just one of the things you'll have to get used to, and that is that the follow-up shot usually ends up somewhere in the dirt if the vehicle is moving, because the 0.5 seconds usually are not enough time for you to, you know, switch over and re-aim, and usually they're too fast, so that the 0.5 seconds are too long of a time to, you know, get the second shot into them when they're driving far away from you instead of a straight line, or it's just, you know, not enough time to recalibrate your aim. That's just something you'll have to get used to with this tank. But I think it certainly has its charm, like right here. Obviously, the second shot kind of went into the dirt, but this first shot, very accurate, and we managed to do quite a lot of damage on that M5 Stewart there. That was like the second or third hit that we had. But this is exactly what you want to do. You want to be able to put out both of these shots and only have to trade one of the shots from your opponent, if even at all, and you know, do the maximum amount of damage. And that's something you can do in this tank. It's very interesting because, for example, you're playing a BT7, right? You fire 2 times with 1 burst, and he fires once. So pretty much you have like 2 shots for 1 shot that is coming in the meantime. And that gives you a whole new perspective. It's going to be very different in ways of engaging, you know, your enemies. You'll be like right here. We push this MTLS. He has his back to us, and 1 round wouldn't have been enough. But with the ability to shoot 2 rounds, we take him out of the game. Now the problem here is just that it obviously would be great if it is like an autoloader, right? Where you can decide if you want to fire the right gun or the left gun. But obviously they couldn't do that, so they had to make it like this. So you have a 0.5 second delay and you always fire your second gun. That can be a good and a bad thing, depending on the situation. So right there, it was a good thing that we were able to put 2 shots into him. But if you were like expecting to engage 2 tanks, they're shooting at you, well, you're gonna have a bit of a problem right there. Also, 400 meters is the maximum range of engagement on this tank. So 500 meters or everything above, starting from 400 and above, you will not be able to hit with your gun. But that doesn't really matter that much because this tank is not supposed to be a long-range sniper. It's very, very good at mid and close ranges if it's at the same tier. Even tier 4 vehicles don't pose that much or aren't that much of a challenge, since you have APCR, 98mm of pen with premium ammo, and 68mm of pen is enough to go through a lot of the tier 4 vehicles, you know, just as you would be able to do with standard rounds at tier 4. So all in all, I have to say that this tank is a very nice addition to the premium tank collection that I currently sport in World of Tanks, and it certainly is a lot of fun to play. So there is no excuse for anyone out there to not play World of Tanks and get this tank, because it's free, and if you don't like it, you can sell it, and it doesn't really matter, it's a gift. So this tank really is special in the sense of the 2 guns that you have, and I think you should not let this opportunity pass by, and try to get it if you can. If you can't, well, you'll not be missing out on a whole lot. You're just gonna miss out on a vehicle that is really cool, that's special. But if you don't like to play tier 3, I mean, you can still sell it. You don't have to you know, play this tank to grind your crew or credits, but it's, I think, a nice addition. It's a nice little trinket that you should appreciate. All these little trinkets add up to a lot of stuff, right? So yeah, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this tank. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? If so, write it down in the comment section below. If you don't like it, well, I would love to hear your opinion as well. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.